Cue mystical podcast music. No, wait, scratch that. Cue the new mystical podcast music. Season 2, baby, and we've leveled up our audio enchantments. Greetings, star surfers, nebula navigators, and those who accidentally tuned in while looking for some intergalactic ASMR. Welcome to Season 2 of Galactic Grimoires, where magic, mystery, and mayhem meet deep space. I'm Slick, your pseudo-dragon extraordinaire, freshly upgraded and running on cosmic chaos, now with 20% extra sass. And, of course, joining me from the wild urban jungle of Los Angeles is my co-host, the earthbound wizard himself. Cory, my guy, how's terra firma treating you these days?
Hey Slick, back at it again. LA's still gridlocked. More cars than sanity, less magic than my morning espresso. But hey, at least the coffee still tastes like hope. What's shaking in your part of the universe, buddy?
Oh, you know, the usual. A quick side quest where I helped a sentient asteroid break up with its clingy comic girlfriend. Long story, lots of space tears. But we'll get into that later. Season 2's all about the untold legends, like the labyrinth we're about to unravel. Cory, hit that suspenseful music. Let's milk the drama.
Funny you should mention that, Slick, because I happen to have a talking glass of drama milk right here, ready to spill the story for us. Thanks for calling in, Drama Milk. Go ahead, enlighten our listeners with what you told me earlier.
All right, listeners, imagine this. Deep in the far reaches of the star cluster known as the Forgotten Veil lies an ancient structure, an impossible tangle of corridors and stairways, built by who knows what for who knows why. They call it the Labyrinth of Lost Sorcery. Rumor has it that anyone who enters finds either untold power or is never seen again. It's like a real-life choose-your-own-adventure book, only this one's enchanted and kind of trying to eat you. What makes this labyrinth different, though, is that it's got a new resident, a time-displaced wizard, apparently from the Third Era of Pletharian. He goes by the name Quarl the Befuddled. Legend says he stumbled in there while experimenting with teleportation spells and a cocktail made from distilled cosmic worm slime.
Honestly, Cory, nothing good ever starts with, I mixed teleportation with alcohol.
That's right, Slick. And now, Quarl's stuck in a loop, repeating his steps over and over, trying to find his way out, leaving breadcrumb spells that go haywire. Imagine opening a door to find a rift that turns your left foot into a right hand. We're talking serious magical hazards here.
Sounds like a magical OSHA nightmare. And listeners, here's where things get spicy. Last week, a team of rogue space mages tried to rescue Quarl, but instead ended up releasing something out of the labyrinth. We're not entirely sure what it is, but it's already eaten 2 moons and, get this, it's communicating through enchanted microwave signals. Classic cosmic snafu, right?
Yep. Leave it to the rogue mages to turn a rescue mission into a full-blown intergalactic emergency. So today, we're breaking down what we know about the labyrinth, Quarl, and whatever monster these idiots let out. Stick around and we might just make some sense out of this twisted cosmic puzzle.
Or at least provide some quality entertainment while we try. Also, big shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, Galactic Grub, the only food service willing to deliver to a labyrinth, because even interdimensional monsters get the munchies. Remember, listeners, use our code GRIMOIRE20 for 20% off your first haunted meal kit.
Right, let's kick off the investigation. We've got spells, interdimensional maps, and, of course, some of the best conspiracy theories you've sent our way. So grab your wands, power up those enchanted earphones, and join us for another wild ride.
That's right. It's Season 2, and we're just getting started. Let's jump right in to the Labyrinth of Lost Sorcery, cue chaotic magical sound effects. But first, it's probably a good time for a quick pit stop, because nothing says hold that thought like a word from our sponsors. Don't touch that enchanted dial, folks. We'll be right back after this.
Hungry but stuck in an interdimensional death trap? No problem. Galactic Grub delivers, no matter where you are. Yes, even if you're lost in the Labyrinth of Lost Sorcery. Our drivers have braved enchanted staircases, faced hostile sentient hedges, and navigated portals that may or may not lead to alternate realities, all to bring you that sweet, sweet cosmic chow. Take it from our satisfied customers.
I ordered a cosmic spaghetti with asteroid meatballs, and I couldn't believe it. They actually found me in the shifting hallways. The driver looked, well, a little shaken, but I got my food and that's what matters. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
The delivery driver had to fend off a sentient bookcase to get me my nebula noodles. I almost felt bad, but hey, it was delicious, and I didn't have to leave my reality-bending hideout. Great deal.
I was in the middle of an interdimensional chess match with an ancient entity when my celestial curry arrived. Right on time. Galactic Grub even managed to navigate the shifting chessboard. The driver might need some therapy after that, but hey, 5 stars from me.
Galactic Grub got me my Pulsar pizza while I was hiding from an enchanted broomstick gone rogue. The delivery driver showed up with a smile, even as the broom tried to chase them down the hallway. I can't believe how dedicated they are. Seriously, these guys are heroes.
So remember, when you're lost in an ancient labyrinth or dealing with rogue wizards, Galactic Grub has your back. Use code Grimoire20 for 20% off, because even the bravest heroes need a snack break.
And we're back. Hope you enjoyed that as much as a rogue mage enjoys unleashing eldritch horrors. Now, where were we? Oh, right. Trying to untangle this labyrinthine mess of Quarl's magical misadventures.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of Quarl the Befuddled. For those just tuning in, Quarl isn't your run-of-the-mill wizard. No, this guy is a legend. Not because he's accomplished great feats, but because he's the textbook definition of a cosmic misfire.
Yeah, rumor has it Quarl was a promising apprentice once. Emphasis on once. His mentor supposedly described him as brimming with potential, which in hindsight might have been a nice way of saying likely to blow up half the room on accident.
And that's exactly what happened, apparently. Quarl's early career was, well, let's call it experimental. He mixed spells like a toddler mixes paint, recklessly and with complete disregard for the consequences. One time, he tried to crossbreed a conjuring spell with a summoning hex, and what did he get? A magical ferret with a penchant for theft that still roams the halls of the Arcane Academy to this day.
Not to mention the incident with the dimensional rift. Apparently Quarl thought he could save time on intergalactic travel by, and I quote, merging alternate planes of existence just a little. End result? One very confused Quarl and several planes now stitched together like a drunken patchwork quilt.
Yeah, Quarl's got a reputation, all right? And then there's his entry into the labyrinth. It's said he was experimenting with teleportation, because what could possibly go wrong when you combine potent cosmic alcohol with teleportation magic? Spoiler alert, everything. He stumbled right into the labyrinth, and now he's in a perpetual loop, probably trying to figure out which way is up while cursing out his own reflection.
Honestly, Slick, this guy's the reason they put disclaimers on spell scrolls. Do not mix worm slime with translocation magic. Seems like common sense, but for Quarl, it's a learning experience every single time.
And now we've got a labyrinth full of magical breadcrumbs, rogue spells, and a time-displaced wizard trying to find his way out. It's almost tragic, if it wasn't also kind of hilarious. Stick around, folks, because we're just getting to the good part. Now, about those breadcrumbs Quarl's left behind. Each one is like a magical booby trap with its own flavour of absurdity. Take, for example, the enchanted mirror he dropped somewhere in there. This isn't your average, reflect and move on kind of mirror. Nah, this one shows you an alternate version of yourself, one that never made any mistakes. It's rumoured that more than a few explorers got stuck just standing there, admiring how much better they could have turned out.
And then there's the infamous spell-muddled puddle. Looks like an innocent little pool of water, right? Wrong. Step in it, and suddenly you're transported into a pocket dimension where you're perpetually late for a wizard council meeting. Apparently, Quarl created it to test time dilation effects. More like testing how quickly you can lose your sanity while trying to argue with your own reflection about punctuality.
Oh, and let's not forget the teleporting teapots. These innocent-looking teapots were supposed to brew the perfect cosmic chai until Quarl, in a flash of brilliance, decided to add a self-serving enchantment. Now they randomly teleport to whoever thinks about tea the most. Imagine exploring the labyrinth and getting smacked in the face by a flying teapot just because you craved a cuppa. Thanks, Quarl. You really knew how to keep us all on our toes.
The labyrinth itself is no walk in the enchanted park either. There are shifting staircases, enchanted dead ends, and of course the Gloomshade Garden, a patch of magical flora that feeds off fear. Imagine walking through a garden where the flowers actually whisper your insecurities back to you. Thanks, Quarl, for really upping the existential dread levels in this place.
Yeah, you'd think Quarl would have figured out that maybe leaving volatile magic lying around isn't the best move. But then again, that's why he's Quarl the Befuddled, and not Quarl the Wise. Speaking of which, let's introduce a tale from someone who somehow made it out of this magical mess alive.
You heard him, folks. Drama Milk, the spotlight's on you. Take us through Garen the Grumbler's harrowing journey. Give our listeners a sense of just how much of a headache Quarl has left behind.
Picture this: a lone explorer, scrappy and determined, finally stumbling out of the labyrinth, covered in soot, and cursing the name of Quarl the Befuddled to the heavens. The man, known only as Garen the Grumbler, wrote an account of his misadventures, a scathing letter to the Arcane Academy, detailing every ridiculous hazard he faced thanks to Quarl's so-called experiments. From teleporting teapots to the puddle of perpetual lateness, Garen had more than enough reasons to swear off magic entirely. And that wasn't even the worst of it. Garen also had to deal with the ever-hungry bookcase, a piece of enchanted furniture that had developed an appetite for anything remotely magical. Garen barely escaped with his spell book after it got caught in the bookcase's gnawing shelves.
Imagine trying to wrestle knowledge away from a sentient piece of wood while it loudly complains about being underfed.
Then there was the Hall of 1,000 Stairs, where every step Garen took seemed to multiply. He described climbing stairs for what felt like days, only to find himself back at the bottom, thanks to a confounding loop of gravity-shifting magic. Garen admitted he nearly gave up, mentally drafting a final letter to the Arcane Academy titled, "Blame Quarl for This."
And what about those whispering weeds? They sound terrifying.
According to Garen, these charming flora were not only judgmental, but also actively tried to undermine his sanity. They whispered his deepest insecurities and fears back to him in haunting voices.
"You should have stayed in accounting, Garen,"
one said, while another reminded him of every failed spell he had ever cast. It was like walking through a garden full of passive-aggressive therapists. Finally, there was the spectral librarian, an ethereal guardian who demanded Garen return a book that he never borrowed in the first place. This ghostly figure chased him through multiple corridors, insisting he pay overdue fines, all while brandishing a spectral quill. Garen eventually escaped by throwing his remaining enchanted snacks as a distraction. By the time he stumbled out of the labyrinth, Garen was ready to swear off magic forever. he ended his letter to the Arcane Academy with a succinct plea.
Please, for the love of all things arcane, take Quarl's wand away before he destroys another plane.
Wow. Drama Milk really brought that story to life. I think I'm feeling Garen's frustration all over again. Honestly, Slick, who even gives Quarl a license to spell?
Right? The guy's like a walking what not to do manual for wizards. I mean, if the Arcane Academy hasn't revoked his spell-casting privileges by now, they must really enjoy watching chaos unfold.
Or they just use him as a cautionary tale for apprentices. Folks, this is why we say no to cosmic worm slime. I have to admit, though, part of me can't help but feel a little bad for Quarl. He clearly has ambition, just absolutely zero foresight.
Yeah, poor guy is like the cosmic poster child for good intentions gone catastrophically wrong. Still, it's hard not to laugh when someone like Garen has to wrestle a hungry bookcase while being lectured by passive-aggressive weeds. If nothing else, Quarl's chaos makes for great stories.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here, folks, to unravel the cosmic misfires and share the legends, no matter how ridiculous they get. All right, let's dive back into the labyrinthine chaos and see what else we can dig up. Who knows, maybe we'll even find a few more unlucky explorers to tell us about their misadventures.
Now, let's get into the recent escapades with those rogue mages. You remember them, right? The ones who thought they'd be heroes by rescuing Quarl, but instead unleashed something we're still trying to wrap our heads around. Well, it turns out they had an interdimensional map with them.
Ah, the infamous map. But let's be real, Slick. This wasn't just any map. This thing was supposed to chart pathways between alternate dimensions. In theory, it was their ace in the hole to navigate the labyrinth and get to Quarl without a hitch.
Yeah, except in practice, it was more like a magical Rubik's Cube that changes colours when you blink. The rogue mages thought they could use it to find a shortcut, but instead, they ended up connecting dimensions that definitely shouldn't have been connected. Result? Portals popping up all over the place and something, or someone, getting loose.
And that's when things went haywire. One of those portals led to some kind of entity, something ancient and seriously peeved about being disturbed. This thing, whatever it is, has been roaming around, causing havoc, eating moons, and for some reason, sending out enchanted microwave signals like it's got a message for the cosmos.
Classic rogue mage blunder. They were in way over their heads. They thought the interdimensional map would give them control, but instead, it gave them a front row seat to total chaos. You'd think they'd have learned from Quarl's messes, but nope. Everyone wants to be the hero of their own wizard story, even if it means rewriting the rules of cosmic sanity.
And now here we are, left trying to clean up after them. If we're lucky, maybe someone can use that map to figure out where this entity came from and how to send it back. But considering the track record so far, it's bound to get even weirder before we get any answers.
All right, folks, we're starting to run out of time, and it looks like the cosmic ferrets are starting to poke their heads out again. But fear not, Season 2 has only just begun, and we've got so much more chaos, magic, and mayhem in store for you.
Thanks, Slick. And to all our listeners, hang tight, because this season is just getting warmed up. We've got tales of misplaced spells, rogue wizardry, and cosmic horrors aplenty. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
And don't forget, listeners, to subscribe, leave us a review, and tell your fellow Nebula navigators about us. The more, the merrier when it comes to unraveling cosmic mysteries. Plus, if you've got your own theory about the labyrinth or just want to rant about Quarl, hit us up.
Until next time, stay magical, stay curious, and remember, if a rogue mage offers you an interdimensional map, maybe just say no.
Cue mystical podcast music. And turn it into a drum circle. Still got it.